Okay, welcome everyone to Mitchell's Bay and to the sixth of our unveilings of heritage plaques around Chatham, Kent. More on that later. I will just tell you that I am Lisa Gilbert and I am the chair of the Chatham Kent Heritage Network, which is the group that has been coordinating the erection of these plaques. We have a lovely, lovely day for it. So thank you for coming. We generally have the mayor here, and the mayor is really very disappointed that he can't be here tonight. But unfortunately, there is a council meeting which he has to be at, unfortunately. So I know that he would have loved to have been here to just bring greetings. But Jamie McGrail is here instead, and I'll ask her to come up and say a few words.
Thank you. And on behalf of the municipality and Mayor Kenneth and my fellow councillors, I say welcome to Mitchell's Bay if you have not been here, but to graciously thank this committee, bringing this out to Mitchell's Bay and bringing to light the significance this has to our community and Chatham-Kent as a whole. So thank you again. And I will be going to council too tonight, just online. I thought this was very important to be here tonight. So thank you. And again, very much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you, Jamie. And I apologize, I didn't realize you were going to be here. I would have made sure your name was on the program. So why are we doing this? Well, we feel as a heritage community, and it is really becoming a heritage community. This group, the Chatham Kent Heritage Network, was formed just about a year and a half ago. Specifically, the impetus was for these plaques. So, the network consists of people throughout Chatham Kent, and as you know, if you're from Chatham Kent, or even if you are a relatively local person, you know that Chatham Kent is a very large municipality. And it's very difficult for the people at one end of the municipality to know about and to know and to work with the people at the other end of the municipality. So this is a group that my husband Jim and I, we've been active in heritage programming throughout Chatham Kent for many, many years, and we've been saying this group is needed for a long time. So this was the impetus to get it started. And so here we are. And Dave Smith, who is the really the prime mover behind this plaque here in Mitchell's Bay, Dave isn't really technically part of the heritage community. He's not the name that came up for me originally regarding that Mitchell's Bay. So I really, really appreciate the fact that Dave stepped up to the plate. And Dave saw a need to tell this story. This is a story that most people even people who live in Mitchell's Bay, if you are not a long-time resident, or if you come here to visit on a regular basis, you don't know that there was once a very thriving commercial fishing industry here in Mitchell's Bay. So kudos to Dave for coming and getting involved, because it's been a lot of work on his part, and for finding things out, because this story was not written down anywhere. We had to do some real primary research, and Dave has done a lot of that. So I hope that you will enjoy what we have and read it, and bring, if other family comes, bring them here and show them the story of commercial fishing. Mitchell's Bay is a very tiny community, like many others around the municipality and certainly around the province. It used to be a lot bigger. It's quite small now, but there is an active community association. There's a lot of people who really care about Mitchell's Bay. In terms of heritage, there is no permanent heritage presence here in Mitchell's Bay. This plaque will be the first. But I encourage any of you out there who might be interested at all to get involved and maybe start developing some kind of an archive, because those pictures and that information are going away and they won't come back if you don't do something about it. It just so happens that I saw some other pictures here today of Mitchell's Bay back in the 1940s, well, before this development here had started and as it was being developed. So where are those pictures going to go? I encourage you to get involved. You don't have to have a museum. You don't even have to have a building. You can start with just some binders and a few people who can get names of people who are in the pictures, etc., etc. I really strongly encourage you to do so. So I think I've said enough. I'd like to. Oh yes, I do want to. I've made it a separate item on the program this time because I always forget. I'd like to thank our sponsors, and if you look at the back, you will see that the sponsors for this plaque are Chatham-Kent and Hydro One, which kind of go hand in hand. Chatham-Kent is very lucky. The municipality, the capital M municipality, and the small m, is very lucky that Hydro One has committed to giving the mayor and councillors every year some money to use at their discretion for cultural and recreational projects. And so that is where a lot of the money for this plaque, to erect it and to design it, etc., has come. So we very much appreciate it, and it certainly has been Darren Caniff who has been the prime mover there. And then, of course, the Mitchell's Bay and Area Association, they do so much for you here, and this is one more good thing that they're doing, and they did support both in terms of people and in terms of money. They supported this plaque, so appreciate it very much. All right, so now we move on to number 4, I believe. Yes, comments from the Heritage Volunteer Dave Smith. Dave?
Thank you, Lisa. I just want to say thank you to everybody that showed up today. It's great to see a lot of people that are interested in the history of Mitchell's Bay and the commercial fishing industry. I'm certainly not a historian, as Lisa pointed out, but I had a lot of people that helped me, and I just want to thank those people that contributed in information or helped me connect with people. I'll start with Windsor and Doreen Broadbent, Ken Jubinville, the Archibald family, and these three families were multi-generational fishermen in the bay on Lake St. Clair. I'd also like to thank Charlie Haycock for connecting me with some of these people, and Bill Urquhart, who sadly has passed away and was a resident of the Bay, and he contributed photos and information in regards to this plaque. I also have to thank Lisa Gilbert for all the help that she's given me. I certainly wouldn't have been able to do it without Lisa. I really appreciate all of the knowledge that she has. Thank you. I want to thank the MBA and councillors Rhonda Jubinville and Jamie McGrail for the financial contributions to the plaque. And I've got a bunch of notes, but I'm not going to talk a lot since it's so hot. I can see Windsor smirking over there. I just want to say a couple of things about the commercial fishing industry. I know a lot of the people that were in the industry. It was a very good living for them. They worked very hard. It was not an easy job every day. You know, you're working with water, you're working with fish, you're slugging boxes, throwing them into trucks, delivering them all over. These fish were delivered all over Toronto, Montreal, New York, many other places. I'm sure I'm forgetting some. So this was a great industry for these families until its demise in the 80s. And I tried not to talk too much about the demise, more so of the good times that the fishermen had and the work that they did. I do want to talk about one story that I was told by one of the fishermen, and I won't mention your name, Windsor. But they weren't allowed to fish for bass, but once a year, for a few years, they were allowed to catch bass, and they took those bass and they put them in ponds in London at the Veterans Hospital, so that the veterans could fish for bass, which I think is an amazing thing to do. You know, veterans fought for the country, and these fishermen in Lake St. Clair would help them out by you know, giving them something to do. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you. And yes, when Dave first came to me, you know, we were talking about the end of the commercial fishing industry in Mitchell's Bay. That was where we started from. But we felt that that story is a sad story. It's a controversial story, and it's the kind of story that really you don't put on a plaque. And so if anybody, you know, I encourage, I was just saying this weekend I was with my family, and I was saying, wouldn't that make a great book? I hope somebody does write a book, not just about the end of commercial fishing in Mitchell's Bay, but just the problems that have occurred, the varying advocacy groups, let's say, who have been on the Great Lakes everywhere all along. Anyway, we wanted to be positive, and so we feel that we have told you the story of commercial fishing in Mitchell's Bay. And by the way, I started out by saying, oh, well, maybe I can find something about the American side. Well, apparently, commercial fishing on the American side of Lake St. Clair ended at the end of the 19th century. So, so this, you know, Mitchell's Bay was probably, you know, it for commercial fishing, other than the native fishery, right, further up. So it was a very important industry here in Mitchell's Bay. All right, so without further ado, we're going to unveil this plaque now. So I'm going to ask Ross Broadbent, Jimmy Broadbent, and Max Broadbent, all of whom are connected to some of the fishing families here, to come and unveil this plaque for us. Great. Thank you very much.